Can anybody hear us now? We got audio running on like 2 different areas now. Yes, no? Wow, that's interesting. You should be able to hear it. Mic check.
Can anybody hear us now?
Oh, there it is. And we could hear it. Wowzers. Good. Okay. Well, we started. Well, thank you guys for letting us know. I guess, quick recap. We're here to talk about treadwear today. We'll get into what we said earlier a little bit later on down the line. But thank you guys so much for letting us know about the audio issues. I guess that's why we start earlier next time. But Felix, today's topic is treadwear. So yesterday we posted a video about how treadwear doesn't lie. It tells us what our setup is doing and maybe a little bit about our driving characteristics. But before we get into that,
I know where you're going.
this video idea started a little differently.
Of course.
So why don't you tell us, I know, but tell us how the video started. What got your wheels turning to make this one?
So I'll just get to what got my wheels turning. I've had conversations with a lot of people this past year after we've posted some of the GT4 RS stuff, right, on what do I need to make my car adjustable, right? And I always just insinuated that this was people that are intermediate to advanced level drivers. So I always insinuated that they were driving the car relatively hard. So it was always, well, if you want to start, like a good place to start, camber plates, toe arms. And then if it's only a track car, then that's when you do front and rear camber plates, rear toe arms. But one thing I never asked is like, where are you coming from, right? What's your experience level? Because, and then at the end of the day, it comes down to this, like your tires are going to tell you. And now that I think back to some of those conversations of these guys running already 19 sticky rubber, some of these guys were getting 3 or 4 track events plus driving the car to the track. And I'm over here telling them, you need, like, our car has camber plates, our car has toe arms, our car has tension arms. And sometimes when you do camber plates on the cars, the minimum camber you can put, like in the rear of the GT4 and 4RS, once you do camber plates, the least amount of camber recommended is like 3 degrees, because if not, you start getting into the body, because you move the top in, and then that kind of gets closer to the body. Anyways, so it was always like, this is what you need, this is what you need, but in reality, like, there's stages to this, and the way to find out what your car needs or how hard you're driving your car is just looking at your tires, right? If some of these people, like I said, they were having tires last 4 events, and I could never get a tire to last 4 events, like even if I wanted to, and that just tells you how much more I'm pushing the car. So a setup that's tailored to me, it's not gonna work for them, right?
Even though you make us drive the car that's set up for you, the car that's
Corner
balanced to you, but I guess that's because you kind of, we kind of adapt to each other's driving styles just a little bit. But okay, so this really started out as us you trying to give advice to people on how to set up their cars, but realizing the fact that maybe some people, maybe like me, if I had my own car getting into the sport, I'm not gonna know what camber to put onto the car and how that affects my driving. So that's how that video was born. So now, we mainly spoke about treadwear when it comes to camber, when it comes to, we mentioned toe, but at what point do we start thinking about camber? At what point do we start thinking about, hey, when do I add a little bit more? Talk to me a little bit about that.
So when to start adding camber, and I said this in the video, I've been on both sides of this, where a shop is trying to sell me all these parts and telling me like, you need to go this aggressive, or these parts will get you here. And then I've been on the other side where I've been working with shops and they're feeding me like the camber slowly, right? So the reason to add camber to the car is because, like I said in the video, you'll start getting outer wear on the tire. If you're driving the car a little too hard, um, a little past its setup is the way I'm gonna call it, the car will actually start degrading the outsides of the tires. So your tire will tell you when you need more camber. Now, if you get to a point of like where we're running our cars, I think I'm in the orange car, I'm like at -3.7 in the front, -3 in the rear. There's also a slippery slope on how much like even how much you lay down the tire and lose under braking, right? Because say I've been running the GT4 RS on those Pirelli slicks, right? So the Pirelli slicks, my car's at 3.7 and the car says it wants way more camber. I can add more camber, but at that point you also start giving up under braking. Going to the other side of this, when we started, we would see literally like whenever I would drive a car, we had like a stock setup, right? So probably under 2 degrees in the front, definitely under 2 degrees in the rear. And we would just wear the outsides of the tire. Now, back then we were running those Bridgestone RE71Rs, and I think they're directional. I would actually, because I had no idea what camber was, I would grab the tire, flip it in the wheel and run it again. And then that would wear what used to be the inside, it would wear the outside. But because I had no idea, right? Like I had no idea what parts I needed to put on the car. I had no idea that maybe it was me giving too much steering, causing the outside stuff. So it's just, you'll get to a point of where the car is just like destroying tires. That's when you need to start adding camber.
Man, so I mean, obviously I come into this with you guys already setting up the cars. So would there be something that I would be feeling driving the car? Like let's just say the camber isn't at the right specs and maybe I am laying the car into the corner. So now I'm getting a lot of that outerwear. Mm-hmm. Are there gonna be, something in the wheel that I feel? Is there something that I'm gonna notice while I'm driving the car? And I realize that might be a lot to like ask, especially for a new person getting into it. Like,
did you notice this?
Did you notice this little thing? Like, I didn't notice anything. I noticed myself almost dying on the track.
I didn't even see that corner station.
But for those who may be more in tune with how their car is supposed to feel, would there be something that you feel not having the appropriate amount of camber in your car?
I think the only way, and you have to understand the car at that point, is if you get into a corner and you turn the car to turn this much, and the car is not turning as much. The axle that's going to give up first, if you don't have enough camber, is going to be the front, right? Because it's also the axle that needs the most camber. So it's the one that's going to give up first. So you're going to start getting understeer, but the understeer will quickly become excessive. And if you find yourself probably going like this, or like giving the car 90-degree steering, like this, giving the car 90-degree steering, and you do this because you want more steering, and then you grab more throttle. Like if you find yourself adding more steering to the car through a corner, the car probably needs more camber in the front.
Every time I've done that, I've almost lost it every
Yeah,
single
because the car goes from push to snap, right?
But Tyrone is asking, you can also get extreme outerwear from poor driving style also.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. So sometimes, and it's so easy to overdrive the front. You turn the car in like this, and I'll do this on some of my videos because I'm trying to get the tires warmed up, and the easiest way to warm them up is by scrubbing
them a little bit.
So you can do this, and I can do this, and the car goes to the exact same place. Like the car will continue on this path. If I do this, and then I do this real quick, release, do this real quick, like the car just continues in its path. So if I keep on doing that, obviously I'm just gonna like destroy the front tires, right? Because they're working, they're working past their slip angle, which is a whole nother topic. But yes, there's definitely a way to get extreme wear from driving the car poorly.
I mean, but that's kind of tough, right? Because now you're talking about like just straight up. I understand that concept of scrubbing them a little bit just to get them kind of warmed up, but you're not increasing the core temperature of the tire at that point, or you're just increasing the surface temperature of the tire.
I think surface temp becomes core temp eventually, but the best way, obviously, to get core temp is going to be through the braking, right?
Yeah.
Like get it from the brakes to the wheel, from the wheel to the tire. That's the way to get core temps up. But I mean, I think surface temp also translates, right? Because it's closer. But for me, it's also like the reason I do that is like the car starts telling you when you can't do that and the car starts doing this,
Yeah.
it means that the tires are like ready to go, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I guess back to the initial question, it would be a lot to ask for, right? Because I'm sitting here thinking like, what did I notice when I first got into the car at Coda? Nothing.
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 Yeah.
I mean, I did start noticing like the tire clag that you kind of pick up at ECR, because that's a big problem at ECR, because they just
Huge
kind of
problem.
leave it out there. Okay, so but that's besides the point.
Larry, hold on. I don't know anybody that does that, right, Felix? Hey, you, buddy.
Don't-
The only guy I know that has like 3.5 degrees in the front and still wears the outsides.
How is? Oh well, he's probably overdriving it.
He's always driving the fronts for sure.
Come
He's
on,
always driving
Larry.
the fronts. Anyway.
I know Larry has told us some scary stuff that he does at ECR, and Don and I were like,
No.
But Larry also has many hours more of driving than I do. So shout out to Larry.
Yeah.
But
I mean, one thing I was gonna say too is like, and the reason that we got away with putting you in a car that was already like a 9 out of 10 setup is the tires. Those Contis that we had, like the ballpark in, like the window that they operate in for camber is kind of crazy. Like you can street drive the hell out of those things, track them with like a crazy setup, and they just last forever. So I think that's why we got away with it. But if you would have been on a stickier tire, like a Track Attack, I guarantee you we would have seen like inner wear like a mother, because you're not laying the tire over initially, right?
yeah.
Because now you're sliding the car a little bit, you're correcting it. You're getting way more out of the car for sure.
I guess that's interesting, because I didn't think of that, right? So before we even keep going down the rabbit hole of tire specs, like camber and alignment specs, are there different ranges of tires that you would suggest for people getting into it, right? Would there, like you said, that the Contis were good for novices, right? So at what point do you start switching out the tire and then noticing that these issues are happening?
Well, so, man, it's a slippery slope you have to fall in. And Larry, can you confirm if you're wearing insides or outsides? But this is a slippery slope, because you and I go to the track, and we're probably gonna leave the tires that are on the car for a while, right? If they're safe and everything. But the moment you have a second to put a sticky set of 200s on it or 100s, we're gonna do that. And then so Don's going through this right now with his GR86. Shout out Don if you're on here. If you're not, cool.
If you're not, shame on you.
Shame on you. He had some set of Michelins that came with the car, and they just lasted forever. And then he doesn't know it yet, but this last time that he drove the car, we put it on RE71 RSs, which are like a really sticky tire.
Oh.
And now like the outsides are pretty bald, right? So the clear example of now he needs to crank in the camber, right? Because he's starting to push the car more and more.
He's progressing.
He's progressing, exactly. So, I mean, I would say for tires, try to stick with anything that's endurance. But I know 99% of the people out there are gonna throw a sticky set of tires on the car as soon as they can. And that's good, because that'll show them that they need more camber or where their setup is exactly.
So I guess there's no real way to avoid this being like a dumpster fire where you're just constantly throwing money.
There's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way.
I think that's, who says it before every single one of the drivers' meetings?
Austin.
Austin. It's like, hey, better off your kids getting addicted to this than getting addicted to drugs, because you're just blowing money at this point. So you have a set of Contis on there. You've progressed enough in your driving career to now want to put something stickier on it. You see that you're getting tons of outerwear. Your tires may not last you more than a couple weekends. Now what?
Well, now that's when you start digging into places like, I mean, hopefully we're a good resource, but you can also start digging into like the Porsche forums on what they recommend, right? Like how to add camber. Like I said, some of the 911s, like the 992s, that can take you from, like that car can have a range of camber from someone who's completely novice to someone like a pro driver in that car would still get good wear. If you go to the 991 generation cars, those are definitely gonna need camber plates, right? Now, if you go to a Cayman like we're stuck with, you gotta do a lot of stuff just to make the car adjustable. And I mean, there's no way to say it, but it sucks. But you kind of have to live it to change it, right? And yes, it becomes a dumpster fire at some point where you're just chunking money at it. Like we saw with Matt, right? Like he had to go through that whole process with his GT3, but when he got his 3RS, he kind of starts at, he starts at a place where he's already been and then moves up from there, right? So you gotta do it all. You gotta see the progression. Now, one thing we did do in that video is we put a little chart there on like the camber numbers that I recommend, but those numbers are factoring in how much you street drive the car, right? So if I put like, if you're trailering the car to and from the track, maybe like us, the occasional drive to a car show, put that thing on full kill. -3 in the front, -3.5 in the front, 3 in the rear. If it's gonna be, I mean, you're gonna be driving it to work. I mean, Marek, you're not watching this, but he's got a 8/10 setup in his BMW, and he literally like corded the inside of his tires to where he lost the sidewall. Because he started driving the car to and from work. Right? Like it's just not set up for that. So we did leave a little bit of a chart if you guys want to revisit the video on what I recommend. Another person that's like in a really weird predicament, and I don't know if he's on here today, is Simon. So Simon and I have been going back and forth on what his setup should be. That guy drives his car from Houston, tracks it, drives it back.
Hold on, he doesn't trailer it?
Well, I think he trailers it now, but he used to do all this on the car.
Wow.
So I was like, you're stuck in a really weird spot where you can't add camber to compensate for the outside without like killing yourself on the street.
There's like what, a 4-hour drive from Houston to Coda?
I'm gonna say like 3 hours, yeah. It depends on where you live, but like imagine driving 3 hours each way on a car, even if it's on street tires, right? But
and it's not comfortable to drive in that car.
It's not comfortable to drive, but yeah, that's besides the point. So now that Simon's trailering the car, he's just going to full track setup, right?
So this is one of those conflicting topics where there isn't a one size fits all, which is why when people ask you about the setup, you can't just take that setup and run with it. Because at some point you can end up just completely destroying your car, especially if you have a GT4 that you're using for the weekends, or you're just out, cruising in it, and then you try to take it to the track in that same setup. There's a lot of things that have to get done before and after each one of those weekends at the track.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, this is so tough. I was reading what Larry was saying, and see, like for example, Larry, I think Larry's probably like at -3.5 in the front and 3 in the rear, and he
Let
said,
us know, Larry.
And he's wearing the insides on the front, which would mean that he has too much camber or he's doing something to inflict that, right? And I know his car has aero too, so I don't know how that changes the whole thing. I think his car does have like rear biased aero. So maybe having a strong rear with like a pushy front end that still turns, because obviously he's still quick out there, is the reason for that. But like you said, you're getting into like specific setups for each person, right?
Right. So I guess this is where the initial idea for the video kind of comes in, where you're just like, yeah, people are asking you, hey, what should I set up my car as? And it's just like, well, we can spend 3 hours or just joining the live, and then we can talk about it during the live. But this is my driving style. This is what I have the car set to. This
how many track days I've done.
This how many track days I've done. So there is no magic number. Now, one thing that you did bring up that kind of does, I think, does fall into a magic number. Maybe it differs per tire brand, but it's the inner wear, where you're either getting ballooning from not having enough tire pressure, or having too much tire pressure, or not having enough tire pressure. And I think that might be one that might be a little bit more universal rather than it being dependent on driving style. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the whole inside, outside, middleware, you could learn that from just driving around in your street tires, right? In whatever car you drive in and out, like every day. If I usually don't drive cars too where like the tires are bald on one side, but if your car is incorrectly set up, or if you've been running the pressures one way or too far the other way, you'll start seeing where the tread on the outside, like both treads on the outside treads are very good, and then the inside is bald, or you could see the inverse of that. And this applies exactly to tracking. So yes, it's stuff we see every day, but the wear's just not accelerated, right? So
it's more gradual.
It's very gradual. So on the street, if you see tire pressure change, or if you see like a certain wear pattern, you could probably adjust for it. At the track, if you do 2 or 3 sessions, and the thing is, at the track, like for camber, you can't adjust it at the track, right? Because you throw off camber, you're gonna have to change toe, you're gonna have to change caster sometimes so that the wheel doesn't rub in a weird place. So I guess that's where education is important when you go to the track, because you need to get ahead of it. Or like you're saying, you need to prep for it.
Yeah.
If you don't prep, and then who do you ask, and who's going to give you good input? Who's not going to try to sell you parts?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess so. Just to get through the ballooning effect and the inverse of that, you have to learn. For one, you have to measure your tire pressures before and after each session.
Yep.
And then you have to kind of record make a mental note of what that difference is, and what range you ultimately want to be in, so that you can set up your tire pressures. Maybe you come back in mid-session. So what would be the process that you would suggest for somebody to make sure that they can avoid the inner wear by having their tire pressures dialed in for every session?
Yeah, so in this video, we obviously couldn't speak about wear without mentioning pressures, right? So like you said, a lot of people, what they end up going down to is the tire pressures on the door, right? The tire pressures on the door, that's like a safe operating temperature. But if you usually start at the door, they're always like mid-30s. So if you go out at those pressures, you're gonna come in the 40s. Now, the 40s is not unsafe. It's just definitely not ideal, right? So throughout the years, we've tried all these different tires, whether it's a slick, a 200, a super 200, an endurance 200. And that's why I mentioned on the video that, like, going out on track, doing your session, coming in, right after you're done, parking the car, getting out and bringing them down to like 33 and 35 is a good place to start. After that, that's when you start reading your tires. And again, it's something that you're really gonna have to pay attention. Now, I don't know if you wanna take like a little tread depth indicator, but usually after 3 or 4 sessions, maybe sometimes even 2, the car will start telling you if it's getting too much outer wear, if the inside is wearing too much. So that's when I said, start 33, 35, go down from there. I don't know if you wanna go up from there, but 33, 35 is definitely safe. In a car like a 2RS or a turbo that's on Pilot Sport 4Ss, I have seen people run like 30, 33 in the front, 36 in the rear, 35 in the rear. And for them, it just feels good. Elevated pressure also gives you a more stable car cornering. Maybe it's not gonna corner as hard, but it does give you stability, or perceived stability through a corner, maybe with a little less grip, but the car's not bouncing, the car's not doing weird things. Yes, you might be going slower, but so 33 to 35, super safe bet. Adjust up, adjust down. Look at your tires. Your tires, like I said, your tires are trying to talk to you. You just need to understand the language. And that's the whole game of motorsport, right? Understanding your tires.
Yeah, because they're talking to you on the track, and then sometimes you feel like you have no grip because this is all a game, right? You're playing a game of how much grip you can exploit throughout the entire circuit, and then on top of that, the camber, the tire pressures, your setup, that all plays into that. So going into just setup, so we understand now why we have camber, right? Depending on how hard you're sending it through a corner is going to determine how much the outside tires are going to be flexing into that corner, right?
Yep.
You mentioned toe in the video. Toe is for the pros, you tell us. Now, from my understanding, toe is essentially you have your tires straight like this with zero toe, right?
Yeah.
And then you can toe in or you can toe out. Why do we need that at a certain level? What was the significance of that?
So I do say it that toe is for the pros, and I've been working with toe. Does not mean I'm a pro. It just means I'm trying to figure it out. That's all it means, right? But the reason I say it's for the pros is because it's definitely a more advanced topic, and that's more like driver preference. And I don't think you should even be thinking of toe if you're not already extracting like 95, 96% of the lap time out of that car.
Listen, brother, this is where we're going to argue because you like to sit here with all the math and stuff and say that most people are extracting a lot out of their cars. So when you say like 95% of the cars, it's like a lot of people could feel like they're already there.
A lot of people should, so 95%, there's a difference between 95 and, because we were saying like at COTA, 1% is a second and a half, right? So probably 80% of the people out there are driving their car to 95% of their capability.
So, all right, so then walk me through this. What advantages or disadvantages do I get by adding or removing toe from the car?
Okay, so that's what I was getting to. So the reason I said toe is for the pros is because it's a more advanced topic. Simple. Now, the way it usually goes is in the rear axle is if you, so 911 in the rear. From factory, it comes to toe in the rear, and that's just because they're trying to hook up the rear axle. So that's what they do. That's usually a little bit more grip on exit, and then the front end. If you want more grip on entry, that's when you go toe out. But going either way, the disadvantage is that it kind of gets you a darty car, right? So like you're going down the back straight, and if you've ever driven the orange car, the car is just kind of moving all around, and that's because I have a lot of toe out because I want the car to turn in well. Now, the more toe out you have, the more you have in or out of each, the more precise you have to be. So a lot of people will set like a qualifying setup that has a shit ton of toe in, a crap ton of toe out, and then once they go racing where they have a lot on their plate, they take the toe out because they want a more neutral car. Right?
Yeah.
And the thing is too, and what lets you or what makes you need to continue to be explorative with your car is you can put two cars next to each other, same setup, same toe numbers, and they could drive differently. And I like that, right? And I like that because when I recommend a certain setup to a person, it's like this is what works for me, but it's a ballpark for you.
So again, you just can't copy paste somebody else's setup.
You can't copy paste.
You can't copy paste somebody else's setup on your car. All right, so I'm assuming that the more toe in you have, you're going to start seeing outer wear on the tires.
You should, yeah.
And then the inverse if you start towing
out. The toe out, yeah. Toe out should be scrubbing the insides. It's one of those things like you won't know until you check it.
So I mean, how does the toe connect to the camber then, right? Because now you're adding toe out, for instance, in your case, to get the car to turn in better. Where do you go with your camber from there?
The two can be combined, but I mean, a change in camber does get you behavior, but I would say like the pure and sole reason for camber is wear, and then toe is behavior.
You're saying that the
No,
whole
no, adding camber is gonna add more grip.
Okay, I'm about to
I-
say, I'm not.
Yeah, it's kind of like
It's connected. It's
It's
connected, right?
connected.
Because if one part of the tire, if let's just say we have one part of the tire, the reason why the inside, for instance, is getting worn more is because that's the part that's hooked up more to the ground.
correct.
So yes, it is getting more. You are getting more grip, which is why you want to add camber so that when you're in a corner, instead of the tire being on the outside of the tire while it's in a turn, you can get it more of a flat. You can get more of a flat contact patch
patches is
to
cornering,
use
yeah.
as much of the contact patch, which increases your grip. Look,
But
guys, this is
technically decreases grip under braking, like I was saying, right? So like everything in tracking, it's a give and take, right? I'm gonna have a car that has toe in the rear. Yeah, okay, it's gonna grip up the car on exit, but it's also gripping up the car on entry, right? So technically that means that the car will rotate less on entry. So this is all like it's all a slippery slope. What's for you, what's for me might not be for you, but it's a ballpark.
And I think this is why doing your research before you get into the sport is probably like the most important thing. Because there's been plenty of times, especially like in the novice group, I see people going out there with these crazy McLarens and all these other crazy cars, and we're smoking them because they don't know, they don't have the skill yet to drive those cars to their full
Correct.
capability.
Well, imagine that's the difference between you riding a docile pony and then getting into one of like a thoroughbred horse, right? Which one are you
Yeah.
gonna cope with better?
Yeah, and to me, I see these people that like, because I saw a McLaren at ECR in the novice group, and that track has you're turning the majority of the time at the track. You're just shifting the body weight of the weight of the car from one side to the other the entire time. I would imagine that if they're taking their car out there knowing nothing about the sport with just a stock setup, that they're going to have a rough time in that
Oh, for
car,
sure.
or they're going to be wearing parts out way quicker.
Yeah, but when we first get into the sport, all of us, like, what are we worried about, brother? It's like, how fast did you go in the back straight? That's just the way it rolls, right? The first time we ever went to COTA, John and I couldn't stop talking about how we're almost going 160 on the back straight, right? Because it's speed we're after, right? So once someone's after chasing the speed and wanting to hit the corners, because eventually you realize the fun's in the corners, right?
It is for me. That's why I like ECR more than COTA.
So you start realizing the fun's in the corners, and then that's when you're like, okay, my tires are doing this is doing
Yeah.
this is gonna help me here. Yeah.
And to Larry's point,
What's Larry saying?
I think Larry is right. You need to build some sort of experience before you start messing with your car. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, if you're gonna have a car that expensive out on the track, maybe this is a one-time thing for you. Great, but if you plan on doing this often, take it out there for a weekend, maybe even a day, whatever. Figure out what the car is doing, and then immediately start like figuring out what the car wants to do. Because if not, you're just gonna light your money on fire at that point.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, that's like this McLaren driver. It could have been his first time out on track, or maybe he does 2 events a year, and he's like, well, if I got to put new tires on my car every year, I don't care.
No big deal.
No
Then
big
again,
deal.
if they have a McLaren, they're probably like $2,500, $5,000
Nothing.
for tires. Nothing. So, I mean, I don't think you're wrong, Larry. I don't think you're wrong. I agree with you. There is some experimenting that you have to do, especially if you want to do this long term. And maybe I'm wrong in the fact that these guys are just doing it like that one weekend at ECR for whatever reason. But I think most of those people are like COTA fans, right? I mean, COTA is like the big boy track, the bucket list track for a lot of people.
For sure.
And I figured there would be more people like that at COTA than at ECR. That would be bringing out their car for like that one time drive that weekend.
Yeah, but I mean, we do know COTA is crazy expensive, and I think we do see a lot of that. But
I mean, if
maybe
you got a McLaren, $1,200 for a weekend.
yeah. But I mean, one thing we haven't been doing is attending all of like the Edge events. and I think it's a more well-known event. So I think a lot of people who are from out of town, like they end up doing those events, and that's why you end up seeing like her events are always crowded, right? It's because she has like
No comment.
well, so they are. They're always crowded, which is, I mean, good for her. I at least applaud it, right? Because people want to come to COTA. They want to drive COTA. She's the most well-known event organizer that comes to COTA. I think Edge Addicts does probably 10 events a year. Yeah. So I do feel like a lot of people do this. We're just not seeing it ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to comment on why it gets packed, but either way,
Yeah.
I think there is a lot of experimenting and a lot of learning that you have to do. Like, I'm in a fortunate position where you figured out the recipe and then you just kind of copy paste it and then do adjustments. I think the only car that you really have to like really focus on is like John's. You get John's car dialed in for him and he's good. But then that same recipe works on the white car, the white GT3 RS. The car feels amazing. The car is just insanely good. And that's just with me just now thinking I'm getting to like that 90%. You say it's much further than I'm like, oh,
Probably, yeah.
I'm like, now I feel like I'm getting into the 90% range of usage for these cars.
Yeah, and I mean, it gets it gets to a point like us where we've done it so much that we just get a car and we're like, okay, this is where we're gonna start, and that's usually like where the car ends up, and it ends up suiting everybody, right? But 6 years ago, or 7 years ago,
Well,
8 years ago, I would have had no idea.
What I will say is though, that despite us running predominantly, you don't change the setup, you only change the setup for John. That fair? Okay, so you only change the setup for John, but you do notice everybody's driving characteristics because you're the one working on the car. So I've heard, not gonna drop names, you know, I'm not gonna say that they've been my instructor before in the past, that they usually go through consumables a lot more because of their driving habits. Is this true?
Yeah, for sure. Ryan destroys brakes. Yeah, and it's been like this from the start. Ryan always destroyed brakes. I always destroyed tires. Like that was just the name. And because Ryan's like the last of the late breakers, I think he switched a little bit, but he's still late apexer, so he's gonna dive the brakes deep. And I'm always like, how much can I slow this car down with the tires at the end of like the braking moment?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because who tried to show me this? Tim tried to show me that you can actually use the tires to slow the car down. And I was like, I'm not trying to test that out today. He's like, no, just do what I'm telling you to do. And you can. So you can actually burn off some speed with the tires, but then now you have to worry about excess tire wear at that
Excess
point.
tire wear, yeah.
And then if you've got the wrong camber set up and the
Ándale.
wrong toe
There
set
you
up,
go.
then you're cooked,
There you
like
go.
the young kids say. So
You are
there's
cooked.
a lot to consider when it comes to setting up these cars. It's a lot to take in, but that's why we have resources. And one thing that I wanted to just put out to everybody right now while we have them is that we are currently working on revamping the website. So at the end of all of our videos, and even at the beginning, it says sagamotorsports.com. If you go there, it tells you a little bit about the team, has a little bit about John. You can see all the drivers that are a part of the team. It's, believe it or not, for those of you who see us at the track, you know it's a lot more than just me and Felix.
Yeah.
There's what, 20 people that drive with us
Yeah.
on some weekends. So it's a lot more of us, but we're turning that website into a resource, right? So that you guys can go on there, see what we're running, see the lap times, see the video. So all that stuff is coming. So as soon as we're done with that revamp, which should be happening within the coming weeks, you guys will have an additional resource. So just be on the lookout for that. We'll blast that out. Maybe we'll put together a newsletter. So we'll get there.
And one thing I really like about that idea, or that I like about the entire group, is that we have different levels of drivers or people that have different experience. So as part of the resource, it's going to be different drivers.
Different drivers at different levels.
At different levels, at different tracks. That way, everybody has something to relate to.
Yeah, because like I said, I think this video alone has just shown that there's just so much to consider that, like Larry said, take it out there, see what's going on with the car in your first session, and then grow with the car, experiment with the car, and then go from there. So
Yeah, you got to experiment. Yep. No, this is absolutely right. Larry did say, tell the car you're going to turn, then turn. Definitely a more advanced topic, but yes, there's definitely a way to tell your car that you're going to turn before turning.
you've spoken about this, right?
I think so.
Set-
Or
setting-
I call it setting the car.
Setting the car, yeah. Setting the car.
Spoke about this a while back.
New people were just like, nah, whatever. So yeah, there's a lot to consider there. So because I think we've kind of worn out the tire
tires.
wear. But last week we made predictions on Formula One, and I'm gonna toot my own horn. I was like 2/3 of the way right there, buddy.
Me too.
Were you?
I said it was Leclerc, Max, and Piastri. And it was Leclerc, Max, and Lando. Obviously in different, well, it was Max, Lando, Leclerc. That wasn't, I mean, I had two on the podium.
So I mean, I guess
That's what my heart wanted, you know? Because if I would have just been honest with myself, I would have been like, yep, Max, Lando, Leclerc.
Okay, so then I guess let me get your opinions on this now. Since
Mexico?
Since we're on the end of the season, we're reaching the end of the season, right?
Or Mexico this weekend.
There's Mexico this season, but so one of the things that stood out to me was that people were talking about Max making this like the biggest comeback ever. What do you feel about that?
I think it definitely can be, especially since the gloves are off, like between the McLaren drivers. Now, Piastri hasn't been competitive for the past 3 races somehow, or for some reason. But I think it's like Melissa can better tell us, and I think she's on here. I think it's a 30-point gap, 30 or 40-point gap to Piastri that Max has, and then obviously probably like 25 to Lando. So Lando and Piastri crashed one time, and he's breathing on their neck for sure. And I mean, I'm pretty sure Max is gonna be involved in some of the action. The thing that will make it hard is that Max is kind of gunning for himself in the car. So it'll be one Red Bull against 2 McLarens, or it's always one Red Bull against 2 Ferraris.
Yeah.
The only time it wasn't one Red Bull versus Mercedes, it was like the finale where Checo helped Max.
So I guess
Melissa said 40 points.
40 points.
Yeah,
40
and then each race, first place gets you 25. So tell me how that's not doable.
Okay, so Mexico is next then.
Mhm.
What do you think happens there?
I don't know. Mexico's funny because it has a super long run to T1. So whoever starts on pole usually never leads out of the first corner. So I think Max will still get pole. Who's gonna win? Let's see who's gonna win. It's probably gonna be again. Top 3 are gonna be Max, Lando, and Piastri probably.
So you're putting McLaren for at least 2 spots. in the podium.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see. When is that race? What?
This weekend,
This
Sunday,
upcoming-
yeah. Unless the 2 McLarens crash and then
And then what? We got-
Tsunoda and
I feel bad for that guy.
look, Larry said Max is 26 points to Lando, 40 to Oscar. And they did say that on one of their interviews. They said we have to be perfect for the next few races. So
Yeah.
George Russell.
You could put in a race there too. Okay, well, we'll see. So I mean, there's 3 or 4 races left? 3, 4?
I don't know, 4. I think 4 or 5. How many
So
races
there's
left, Larry?
So I think based off of what you just said, so it's 25 points if you win. If you win a race, dude, he could. But I think it would have to be pretty big. Like McLaren would have to stop gaining points. So they would have to like take themselves out of a few races.
I think it's possible.
Hey, that'd be entertaining to watch.
That'd be entertaining to watch. I know you said you wanted to cover some topics, or you wanted to cover the IG video, or no?
Well, you know what? So you need to respond to those comments.
I do need to
there.
respond to those comments.
But today we recently posted a video of me messing up at ECR at 383B. If you guys didn't watch the video,
Double
while
F.
you guys are here, you can swipe up the video, stay picture in picture. Go to Instagram, If you're not already following us on Instagram, follow us. But I went into 383B a little spicy, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
So what do you think happened there?
I think it was just your transition, right? Your transition from getting the front end, setting the rear, and then. A lot of people said, I mean, no, this was on exit of 3B, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely too much throttle for the amount of wheel that you
Yeah,
have.
because you could hear it in the engine. Like,
Right.
I was watching this and I was like, I know exactly what I did wrong there, but it was one of those moments where the reason why the car got so sideways was because I was just
Where are you
stuck.
looking?
I don't know. I was just stuck there, and then in my helmet, all I hear is counter steer, counter steer, counter steer, and then I started counter steering. But to TJ's credit, karting helped me fix that.
Yeah, the oversteer.
Karting
the car.
made me fix that because we went karting in at VIR, and I'm over there. I mean, the karts at VIR aren't that fast, but they're just fun. But I'm over here trying to get in the mindset of correcting counter steer because that was the first track that we had the summer trip, and it paid off because I lost it at turn 1 at VIR, and then I lost it at turn 19 or 20 at Flat Rock.
Oh yeah.
I lost it twice there, and then I lost it several times with TJ pushing me
Yeah.
at Barber. So karting is actually pretty cool. So if you're up in the Crescent area, MSR Crescent, go check out Kart Moto. Go see if you find TJ out there. He's
So
probably
does
out there
this
right
mean
now.
that you need to make a setup change? Or are you driving the car wrong?
That's me driving the car wrong. I think in every instance where I've had the car spin, it's me giving it too much wheel and too much throttle at the same time.
So once you fix it. Anyways,
Because it's easier said than done, baby. I'm trying to get more practice counter steering.
yeah, exactly.
Well, look, if you guys look at your footage, you guys are making corrections all the time
whole
because
time,
you guys are living on the edge or finding the edge.
Finding the edge, yep.
And if you don't find the edge, then you're not going to get faster.
Oof, last question.
What do you think about ZL1 1LE? I keep hearing the car's chassis and suspension is next level. Well, we have a video coming up on a Camaro very soon. If you were at ECR 2 weekends ago, you'll know what we're going to be talking about. But so I guess answer the question. From what I'm hearing and from what I'm seeing, because we do have a member who does drive a Camaro, it's a fantastic car to get into tracking. Let me do this. It comes with everything you need to go tracking, so you don't have to touch it. You don't have to touch it.
That's all we're gonna say.
That's all we're gonna say. But Felix, what are your thoughts on the Camaro?
I think it's a great car. So time and time again, we do videos about the GT4, right? Just because we're kind of involved in the Porsche world, and John's like, we won't track anything but a Porsche because they're reliable. They take care of us. Whatever.
Reliable. We just made a video about them blowing up.
It's getting fixed. Anyways, so most of them are reliable. They take the beating. It's pretty easy. But one thing I was gonna say about the Camaro, it seems to be the biggest bang for buck out there. Like Jason, I don't know how much he's into his car. I think he has like a 2018, 2019. It's a 6th gen Z01 non-1LE, so it doesn't have the supercharger. He's running it, I think sometimes he runs it like on 18 squares, so like his tire wear is like insane. If he starts wearing the rears, he could put them on the front, or he could swap them left front to left rear. Like he could do whatever he wants because of the way he has the car set up. Anyways, he gutted the car, and this is just for feedback. He's got the stock struts. He gutted the car, put a race seat in it. He's done some aftermarket bushings in the rear suspension, some aftermarket bushings here and there. We put the car on scales, and it was just perfect. Like the cross on it, it was 50-50. Like he hopped in the car, and it was like perfectly balanced. And you can't even adjust it if you wanted to.
Wow.
It was perfect.
So,
So that'll tell you, like, it's a really good car for the money, no doubt.
yeah, so they also asked, how does the DSSV compare to Porsche's dampers? I'm always curious about how they pulled it off. Thank you in advance.
DSSV, I need to look up what that is.
Or if you already know, you can just put it in the comments.
Ah, okay, so it's made by Multimatic, so that's just what they're calling their dampener. I haven't driven the car.
Yeah.
Like he's asking how they compare.
Well-
I haven't driven the car, but it is in the books to get me in a Camaro because again, I think it's the biggest bang for buck.
Yeah, and look, if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell because Jason, our local Camaro driver, is going to be joining the live show. So when his video goes up about his car, because there's a video coming up about his car, Jason is going to be joining us here on the live show where you'll be able to ask all these questions, which is the benefit of the live show, right? Come on here, ask all the questions you want to ask about whether it's the Porsches. We do have some experience with the Corvette. Now we're looking at it over there sitting all lonely because it's Spinderella hasn't come out in a few years. But we'll see if we can get you the answer to that question. So just make sure if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, and that's what these lives are all about. Like Jorge said, they're to answer all of y'all's questions. Yes, we're touching, like we're closing out on videos that we've done because if basically each one of the videos that we make can potentially be like an hour-long video, but we have to chop it up just for retention and all that. So
Yeah, and for my own sanity, because I'm going to sit
your
here
own sanity,
chopping stuff off. So love is greater than hate. We appreciate you chiming in there. What do you say there? Arrow was developed
at
in
the Mercedes facility in Brackley. Wow.
That's pretty cool. I don't know. Man, I'm curious. I'm curious if that's one of the things that maybe Jason stripped out of his car. So listen, I hope you guys get it by the jokes that we're making, that it has something to do with his car and what he has done to it. So he may have answers to that. He may actually know a little bit more about it, well, a lot more about it than we would, because he's a tinkerer. He works on his car a lot at this point.
Multimatic is a big dog too. I mean, the Multimatic shocks, that's what's in, obviously like the Ford GT because it's Ford Multimatic. But they're also like on all the prototype cars that were on WEC, they're all on Multimatic shocks. So they, like it's the real deal, and it's probably the real deal to have that same brand shocks in your street car. Like they gotta be proper. Yeah, now I think Porsche does are the last ones made by Soch? I need to see who the last iteration on the 4RS, but I mean, the new shock dampeners feel pretty good.
Man, so I'm really curious because now we get to sit here and make fun of Jason if he took that out of his car too. Then
I don't think so. It's got the stock stuff, but it's a non-1LE, so
maybe,
whatever it comes with.
So maybe the non-1LE doesn't come with that.
Could be, yeah.
So
We'll see.
like I said, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't already. The video that we were discussing today is also linked down below. Also, for those of you out there running wild without track insurance, link down in the description below. Hit that link. Maybe you get track insurance right before the track weekend because they do offer plans like that as well, where you get to kind of get a plan for a 2-day event or a 1-day event. Or if you just want to have it covered all day long or all year long.
All year long.
Link down in the description so you guys can check that out and get yourself some track insurance because you'll find out in the next videos why track insurance may be helpful.
Some of our friends have used it and been happy they got it, and some of them
don't have it.
wish they had it.
Yeah, so that'll be down in the description. So Felix, you got anything else for the people? And again, we apologize for the technical difficulties we had this morning at the beginning of the show.
That's the type of day you're having.
Yeah, type of day I'm having. It's been a long day. But anything to close out for the people?
I think that's it. Part of learning tire wear is staying curious, and when you're out on track, I would say stay curious.
That also means get underneath your car. Don't just get in.
Get underneath your car.
That doesn't mean just get in and get out. Get out, get in, get underneath it, check out your tires. Because if you don't know, then you're not going to find out until you take it to somebody like Felix, and then they let you know.
Yeah,
or like, maybe it's too late.
Or like Doug that exploded his first front tire, and we lent him a tire because he had no idea what.
And that's how you make friends over here at Saga Motorsports.
All
right, guys.
That's how you make friends forever. Don't check your tires. Anyways.
All right, guys. That's all we got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please make sure you hit like on the stream. Share this out to all your friends. Bring them into the sport because, as we mentioned, we're trying to get more people in. And the better people are educated, the better it makes it for all of us to get out on track. All right, guys.
Sounds good.